menstrual hygiene as well as intimate healthcare, and we'll be discussing that in the form of Q&A.
Yeah, and she has a question list with her. So I am Dr. Akriti and I am a gynecologist plus IVF specialist. So basically dealing with fertility issues. But since the awareness regarding menstrual health and other adolescent problems and regarding reproductive age is so much that usually I go ahead with these topics as well.
All right.
So let's start with your
I didn't.
questionnaire.
Yep. Okay, so the first question is, how important is intimate hygiene? And if not taken proper care, what are the consequences?
Okay, so see, as you all know that intimate hygiene, why is it important? Because it is something which is very personal to us. Okay, so if we don't take care of that and if we don't keep our private parts clean, and it is equally important for the female as well as for the male, whether it's a girl or a boy. So both have to take care of their personal parts, because if it is not taken care of in a proper way, what will cause it? It'll obviously, everybody knows there'll be dirt, there'll be infections, there'll be diseases, and once you have sex with your partner, it might spread. So you are creating
Yeah.
a nuisance, for yourself as well as for your partner. So it is two ways affecting you as well as your partner if you are in a sexual relationship. So that is one reason you have to be very clean in your personal hygiene, and that can be done in so many ways. It is not just external appearance. It is health as well. It should be first of all, you should wear your undergarments. You should change it regularly. They should be kept dry. They should not be moist always. And if you are, I mean, in summer you should not wear tight clothes, so that they are not that body hugging type, and so that the lot of sweat is not there and you are not predisposed to fungal infections. So different other reasons. Practice safe sex. So these are various ways in which you can make your personal hygiene or your intimate hygiene healthy. Okay, don't use soap on the local areas. Those things, all those things have to be taken care of.
My second question was exactly the same, that
Okay.
I've seen many intimate washes ads in the market, right?
Yeah.
And how are they different from soaps, and how are they important?
Yeah, so intimate washes, as you know, they come by many names, and girls, they actually hear from their friends or from their mothers. They come across, they hardly go to a doctor to buy that, but they are just available over the counter. So whether that is a V Wash brand
Yep.
or Inti Wash, I'll name a few brands, Inti Wash, or whether that it's Klingon Wash. So there are these few brands which are available in the market, and basically these are basically a solution which has lactic acid. So, and a certain oils, essential oils you can say, which are a kind of
Yes.
a lubricant as well as nourishing to your vagina. Okay, so these basically have a pH which is acidic, so it is less than 7. Like water has a neutral pH, so it is 7. So they have a pH which is 4 to 5. And in ladies, in the sexually active females, they have a hair, this thing, what you call vaginal pH, which is acidic. So this is similar to the vaginal pH. So this is actually
Oh,
something which is like you can say you are using as a substitute just to clean the
nah.
vagina. It is something which is just not medicated. It is having just lactic acid in it. So they are simple, same same concentration, same strength, and same pH as your vagina. So it is safe to use, but the use has to be limited. Like it should not be excessive, because it sometimes causes harm and rashes and irritates your vagina and might cause infections later on, secondary bacterial infections. So it has to be used not over the counter, but only if you are asked by your doctor, like that. Not just
Okay.
somebody has told you, okay, if you are feeling itching, you can go ahead with this. No, it is not like that. It is itching could be
Okay.
because of so many reasons. It is something which needs to be shown to a doctor, shown to a gynecologist, that I have itching. So this is not a healthy sign of your personal area. So this is something which is an
Yep.
alarming
Yep.
sign. You need to go to a doctor and not just take a V wash or a Inti wash or something like a Klingon wash. So
Okay.
that
Okay.
these washes are basically acidic. So they're different from soaps because soap is alkaline. So its pH is more than 7. And
Yes.
it's an
Yes.
absolute no for soaps to be used on your local parts, because your pH inside your vagina is acidic. It is not basic.
Okay.
So if you use that, that is harmful. That will kill the healthy bacteria which are already there, which grow in the acidic environment. Okay, so it will actually kill those bacteria and cause you
Kill
more
those
harm.
bacteria.
And anyway, they are chemicals. You are not supposed to use chemicals on your, inside your
Intimate.
genitalia. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much for that. I hope people found that enlightening. Third question is, mostly females don't know about other sanitary products than pads.
Yeah.
How are menstrual cups and tampons? Like,
Hmm.
do they have any side effects or
Hmm.
disadvantages?
See, basically, still in India, if you consider, people are using maximum majority of them are using sanitary pads. You know why? Because it is
Pads.
easily available, accessible, and not because they are cheaper, just because they are easily accessible and easily available. So they can easily change it every 4 to 6 hours, and and they soak nicely. Now they are with extra wings. They have increased in
Mm-hmm.
length and size. Initially, they were smaller. So they have a this thing, what do you call, they have a tendency to keep using it I mean changing it again and again. But what they're not aware,
Yeah.
there are different products which some women in certain conditions, like if she feels that she is an athlete, or if she's into exercise, or if she's into swimming, those people they don't prefer using these pads, because it makes them cumbersome to change it
It
again
was.
and again, and even
Yes,
swimming you
yes.
can't use that, right? So
You can't.
those
Yeah.
kind of women, and also who are traveling very frequent, okay, like they have
Okay.
business work, or traveling to do any reason, so they also don't
Mm-hmm.
prefer using something which they keep on changing while they travel. So no, maybe they're traveling 48 hours, so they can't change, every time they can't carry a pad and change, so it becomes cumbersome. For such kind of ladies, always they prefer using something which is there, and it is safe to be there. So then comes the role of tampons or menstrual cups. So majority of women who have more of travel shoes or more into sports, I think they prefer using these products. Not just common women who are using it on a daily basis. They hardly use them. Until unless they have tried it, nobody will recommend you, because they have a fear that
Okay.
it is something which is inserted inside the vagina and it is going to
Hmm.
cause them injury. So that is a myth about
Hmm.
these things, and it might get stuck. What if it gets stuck? And like some people feel dirty dealing with the blood, like you have it in a menstrual cup.
Okay.
You understand? But there
Hmm.
are various
Hmm.
pros and various cons of each and every product. So some like
Product. Yeah.
yeah, everything has a pro and everything has a con. Like sanitary
Mm-hmm.
pads, they are not biodegradable, okay, and
Mm-hmm.
they have certain amount of they have a bleach inside them, and which released over slow
Chemicals.
period,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly, slow period of time. It is proven that it increases the risk of cancer if you don't change it
Yes.
frequently.
Cancer.
That's why we now say that every four to
Every
six
six
hours,
hours.
yeah, minimum of four to
Hmm.
six hours. I don't think many people would do that, because I really don't think.
I know people who don't do that.
So that's what I'm
They
telling
use
people.
one pad for the whole day because
Yeah, because
they
it's
think that
not,
their
it's
blood flow
clean.
is less.
Yeah, some
Yeah.
people don't change the pad because they say that it is less. It's not soaked completely. Why should I change? But
Yes.
on a
Yes.
long run, that is the con it has. On the other hand,
Mm-hmm.
if you have a tampon instead, so it can soak similar amount of blood, and it can be inserted inside the vagina, and there's no thing of rashes and all, because once you use pads you have irritation around
Yeah.
your thighs, so that causes rash.
Mm.
A lot of people have a problem with that. So tampons and
Mm.
menstrual cups are safer in that sense, but then tampons have an issue of toxic shock syndrome, if they are there for a longer time and if you forget. I mean, that is very rare, but it is a very dangerous thing to happen to a lady.
Okay.
So then menstrual cups, they are made of silicone. So that is something which is not what you call allergic. You should not be allergic to. It should be safe for you
Silicone.
to use, and then you should know the proper technique how to use a menstrual cup. And you should not have that
Okay.
problem of sterilizing it in boiling water later on once you clean it, because you can't use it simply just by washing under soap. You can't. You do know how to clean it
Yep. Yep.
with soap or Dettol or something like this. You have to sterilize it, and then the best advantage of a menstrual cup, it's very economical. Very economical. You can use it over a
Yes.
period of
Yes.
6 months, and until other than pad, which
I.
costs you a lot of money, whichever brand you choose.
Hmm.
So other than the best advantage of menstrual cup over pad is that it is very economical, and then
Yeah.
no need of fearing that cancer, and no need of fearing about that
Yes.
biodegradable, where to throw the pad, and what is going to
Hmm.
cause. Maybe it's eco-friendly, you can say that. But only thing is, some people might not like dealing with blood
Hmm.
or
Some
putting in
people
the
don't like
vagina.
dealing with blood. Yeah. Some
Blood,
people have issues with the.
yeah, they might not like dealing that, holding that cup, and spilling that blood out. Everybody has a different
Yes, yes.
feeling, so everybody has a choice to make. So there are various options in the market. They choose according to their choice, but many people don't know what choices they have.
But I would say that it's your own blood. So you
Yeah.
should not feel that way.
No, some people fear,
But all
some
right.
people have that feeling of smell. So there are different concerns of different people.
All right. So, okay, the fourth question is, tell us something about some symptoms when it's necessary to consult a gynecologist.
Like, suppose we need to know what normal vaginal discharge is, then we need to know that it is transparent, or it might be watery in consistency, and in some occasions, like, and moreover, it is odorless, it does not have any odor. Okay. So, and its
Okay.
quantity is not that much that you might need to talk about it. Like, it would just be there under, it is notable or noticeable only during certain instances where it is excessive, but normal, like ovulation, mid cycle, when you have secretions, you feel that something is coming, then that time it is noticeable. Otherwise, every time your vagina is lubricated. So every time there is vaginal discharge inside your vagina, which keeps it wet. Okay, if it is not there, you will feel dry. Like happens once a
All
lady
right.
becomes old and she goes into menopause and her periods stop coming. So that is something like that. So these are few cases. Even while you have sex, so you have that time also increased secretions, which are similar, which are again the what do you call normal vaginal secretions, which are increased. So these conditions are the ones when you become noticeable, you become that you become aware that your vaginal discharge is excessive, but it is normal. So that one, that
Okay.
discharge is normal. But
Hmm.
if in case there is a change in color, suppose it's yellow, or suppose it's green, or suppose the odor is fishy, or it is foul smelling, or it is frothy texture, okay, curd-like texture. So there are different things which are there. So you need to go to a doctor, or there is itching, or there's burning, actually burning sensation, like these things, or you find some you can say there are some eruptions around your vulva, outer area, introitus or something.
Oh.
So these are certain
Hmm.
things when you think that some might think be wrong, and you need to go to a doctor.
All right. All right. Can you tell us something about period foods? Like what is good during periods, what's not?
Usually, there's nothing a term called period foods. It is basically women who have a misconception that you should not eat warm things. I don't know. I have never understood that thing. What is a warm food? So there's nothing called as a
Okay.
warm food or a cold food. ये खाना ये गरम है, ये ठंडा है. You should eat
Acha.
this. You will have periods. If you're not having period, you should eat badam. You should eat this. You should eat all the dry fruits. So it will give heat in your body and it will cause periods. So that is the concept of Indian ladies. They have this their own concept. So basically, period foods is nothing. Basically, you have, it's mainly periods time. Food is a problem only for those girls who have problem of PMS or premenstrual syndrome,
Hmm.
who have dysmenorrhea,
Yes.
primary or secondary. So those women are more concerned about food. Otherwise, periods and foods, they don't have any relation. So these women who have PMS, they have a certain category of items which they need to restrict, and they have certain foods which they should eat and which have proven to be good or helpful to cure their PMS symptoms, or lessen their symptoms. For example, they should not take alcohol or beverage, or
Yes.
coffee, caffeine, or nicotine as such.
Hmm.
So they have proven to be having a negative effect on the
Effect on.
effect on the pain or the emotional state, the PMS, headache. So these are the foods which need to be avoided. And what you can enhance is, you can have in your diet the kesar. As you know, it is very good. It is kesar kava, in the form of kava, or you can have kesar milk, or you can have ginger tea. garlic.
Mm.
These are certain products, flax seeds. They have proven to be useful, decrease the intensity of symptoms and change their mood swings, all those things. Plus, there are certain nutraceuticals that you can skip basically, like vitamin C, E, or D. They have also proven that they are good if you take for the premenstrual symptoms.
Okay.
So, foods rich in those, and even calcium. So these are certain,
Mhm.
which are studies which have been proven, or there are data available in medical science that they are helpful. So rather than,
During PMS.
yeah, during PMS. So foods is a concern basically for women with periods. Otherwise, if you have periods and you're not suffering from any of these symptoms, you can have a normal healthy diet which you're actually having. There's no need to restrict
Mhm.
yourself from anything.
But I've heard that you can't have like cold water, or you
That's
don't
what
have
there's
to.
nothing called like a warm and a cold thing. That's the myth
Okay.
which is there. Even during pregnancy,
Okay.
many people will give you. Even during adolescence, once you have your puberty or you have menarche, that time also this will come. And even once you're getting older, you're entering menopause, then these foods will again come. So you all should always know the scientific basis. And there's nothing called
Okay.
as
Okay.
warm food or a hot food or a cold food.
Okay. All right. So this one is like, I am confused in some articles they say that pubic hair are important to protect your vagina,
Hmm.
but in the others they say that if you have to remove them,
Hmm.
because in if you don't, then
Hmm.
it can cause infections.
No, no. The
So.
second part is not correct because pubic hair definitely is there something that everything on the body has a role. Okay, like this hair or has a
Mhm.
role. Even your armpit hair has a
Mhm.
role. So even this hair has a role, whether it is for boys or girls. Okay, for both these they have a
Mhm.
proper, like two examples can be there. Like for example, if a male and a female are having sex, so once their body they rub against each other, there'll be friction. So if there is no hair, okay, so there'll be more friction. Okay, there'll be more
Mhm.
friction between two surfaces, which is raw. Other than if you have hair,
Mhm.
which is very loose and soft, so the friction would be
Mhm.
little lesser. So the
Mhm.
intercourse will be better. Okay, so that is one
Mhm.
thing. Second can be also said that the hair which is there on the external surface, whether of a male or a female,
Mhm.
so it is there to protect you from dirt. Maybe some dirt can be stuck up in that
Exactly.
hair, it cannot go inside, and then there can be certain infections, maybe some small bacteria or viruses which get stuck there. Okay, but yes, you need to take proper. You should not be like that. You are not taking care of your hair properly. You are not.
Yep. Yep.
You can trim it. Definitely, you can trim it, but don't clean it completely. Okay, because
Completely.
yeah,
Yes.
because that will harm you. In fact, that will harm you. Both, it will not prevent. It
Yes.
will not take care of your infections. Definitely not. That's a very bad thing. But definitely, if you have what do you call a bad intimate hygiene or a unhealthy
Mhm.
environment, then definitely you will have infections. Even that hair will not help
Mhm.
you. But you have to take care of it in a proper way. Trim it regularly.
Yeah.
Don't just shave it off completely.
Mhm. Because I've seen that, some people say, I mean, yeah, I've seen that in pornographic films they promote, you know,
Mm-hmm. They have a
proper
different, yeah,
shave.
they have a different concept. They think is that it is erotic for the partner. They think that it is
Mhm.
sexually attractive. But the science,
Mhm.
once you have intercourse, that is different. You will definitely face friction because obviously when you rub your hands and if there's something smooth between cream is
Yep.
there,
Yep.
you'll feel softer.
Mhm. I get it. That's how they, you know, make us deviated from the reality. All right then. Uh, is it normal to skip periods once in a while?
Like, does that mean if you miss your periods, like means they get
Yes,
late,
yes,
delayed?
yes, yes. Sometimes they get delayed.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's like they skip the month. Like
Mm-hmm. So
this month
basically,
you
they're
are not
getting
having your
late.
periods.
So they're getting
Yeah.
late. So see,
Hmm.
if it is happening in, it depends which age group it is happening. If it is happening once you attain menarche and the first 3 to 4 years, I think first 2 to 3 years basically, there is irregularity in the cycles. Then time, maybe sometime you might get in 1 month, or might be after 2 months. So if it is happening in the adolescent period, in the time of your menarche, first 3 years, that time you need to take care how much is the length, how long it is happening. Because many people, they directly go, the mother will take the child to a gynecologist and tell, she's not getting monthly periods, she's getting it late. No, I think she has something, I know, why don't you test her? So they need to know that rather than thinking directly of a polycystic ovarian syndrome there, better to counsel the woman that there's a change in the body, physiology, that, she was a girl and now she's turning into a lady. So she has to have that transition, and her body has to take time. It has to take 2 to 3 years. So the brain, the ovaries, they have to have a balance. So it takes time. So if that happens,
Okay.
some it will happen early, some majority will happen with time. So that could be one reason in that age group. Okay. So, but if it is not that and you're trying to investigate, then you think on the other possibilities after counseling the patient, counseling the mother and the child. That is in that age group. Suppose if it happens in once you have
Okay.
crossed that age and you are in your teenage age group, and you are either in your adolescence or you are in your reproductive age.
Adulthood.
So yeah, adulthood or in the
Yeah.
reproductive age, you can say. So around 25 also. So then if it is happening, you must know if it is physiological. Physiological means if it is out of some concern, like maybe you had exams, you had stress around you, you had a change of place, change of work, things which you are aware of.
Okay.
Okay. So it could be that reason. But you have to go to a doctor once you skip it. You can't just take it lightly. So you have
Okay.
to
Okay.
discuss it with your doctor, your gynecologist, and tell that I had a previous history, I had exams, I was stressed, I was not taking a proper diet, or I was doing excessive dieting or exercise. So that could, anything change in your body which is abrupt can also make you skip your periods. Or even it can lead to the reverse. There can be periods twice a month, twice or thrice a month.
Yes.
So that can happen, but you need to go to a doctor and tell this thing. So then she will guide you, like, yeah, this could be the reason. We'll see changing the habits, and next month we'll see how it happens. So she'll give you again a counseling session and she'll tell you. But in case if you are aware that nothing is such sort is there, definitely there has to be some reason why it is happening. You have to go to a gynecologist and she will prescribe you few investigations or tests, blood tests, and maybe an ultrasound, and try to find out what the cause is, because there has to be either a physiological cause or some pathological cause, maybe something in your body which is disturbed. So something has to be there. It
Yes.
can't be
Yes.
just you can skip a period and you cannot go about it. No, you have to go to a doctor.
Okay.
You
All
just
right.
can't take it lightly.
Okay, so you've already told me this, I guess, healthy PMS habits.
Yeah.
Okay, habits don't only include food. Like, what else would you advise?
Yeah, they can do yoga. There are a lot of yoga exercises for pain relief during PMS or mood. And there is meditation, there is reflexology, which is very, upcoming nowadays. There are so many YouTube videos on it. Like there are certain points on the fingers and the toes, which you need to rub, or it's similar to acupressure actually. Like acupressure has needles
Oh.
and pins, but this is with your fingers only. You need to rub your hands. There are certain points. So they teach you how to do that. And certain areas on the hand or the palm and the sole, similarly on the heel. So they stimulate those areas and will make you relieve your pain. And then there is acupressure. So these are certain things which you can try besides medicines.
I wasn't known of it.
So these are
Thank you
something
so
which are
much.
newer, and I have seen
Yeah.
videos on reflexology. A lot of them are like good videos on reflexology.
Okay, so is period sex really bad?
Actually, there's a lot of controversy in the younger generation asking about period sex. But what I feel is there are many articles on it. But what science, as what I have been taught during my medicine journey, is that when a lady menstruates and though she might have an increased what do you call feeling or a desire to have sexual intercourse during that time because of the change in hormones. What happens is there is retrograde, in a reverse direction. There is uterine contraction could stimulate,
Oh.
and there could be backflow of the blood. theoretical, not like a gush of blood will go back, but even a
Yeah,
small
yeah.
quantity could go back, and that creates a condition called as endometriosis. Okay, this is one of the
Okay.
most
Endo.
widely accepted theory which we have studied in endometriosis. Endometriosis is basically commonly understood
Shedding.
as no. Endometriosis is basically understood most widely when people have difficulty or they have a lot of pain during intercourse or during menses. So they think
Okay.
that they have some problem, in the sense there are certain in the uterus, in the the which is your bleeding organ, or other parts of your maybe the ovaries. So there are certain spots where endometrial tissue starts accumulating, and then every time you bleed it starts growing and it causes pain. So that
Mm-hmm.
is a theory which is the most widely accepted, that if you have sex during periods or you have any procedure during periods which pushes the blood up, like many, even minute quantities, it could trigger endometriosis. So that is something which is painful, that is something which is debilitating, and this is something which is there even once you get pregnant. It will affect your fertility, might not, it will prevent you from getting pregnant, and later on also it can create problems for you. So that's, I would never recommend somebody going for a period sex with that notion in my mind.
Oh. Okay. But I have heard like a totally different thing.
No,
I have
that's
read
what I'm telling.
some articles by.
I won't agree with that because I have read something which is medical and which is proven. So I won't agree.
Yeah. No, I mean, I never use references from the articles that are not
Mm-hmm.
given by medical experts. Those
Mm-hmm.
articles were given by medical experts and they were saying that it relieves cramps.
Even if it relieves cramps, in a long run it's not safe, because we don't know which woman will end up in endometriosis. So why, I mean,
Oh.
why have that thing which is a long term thing, and it's
Risk.
not something which is something which can go away easily. It is a debilitating disease. Sometimes it is so severe
Yeah,
that
yeah.
very high risk patients, they even go for removal of their uterus.
Oh,
So that is something which is
okay,
chronic.
okay.
Chronic. It's not acute or something.
Hmm.
It's chronic.
Hmm. All right, so I'm done with my questions. I guess you will be seeing the Q&A part. Are
Yeah,
there any questions there?
I think I saw one. I need to open it. Yeah. It says there's a question by Neha Arora, and she says, last time when I visited my gynac, she suggested me to not use Whisper because it is plastic in it. And are those safe for our intimate areas? Like, is it she asking for Whisper only?
Yeah, I guess. Last
So,
time when I was taking it has plastic in it. All right. Yeah, those are like, there are two kinds of pads. One is synthetic, the other is cotton.
no, the
She's
ones
talking about the
which,
synthetic
so
ones.
that's what the most people are using. So that is
Yes,
the one which
synthetic
is
ones are.
releasing, that is the one which is releasing the chemicals. That is what they
Yes,
say,
yes,
that you
yes.
need to change it every 4 hours before the blood dries off
Hmm.
and before that chemicals are
Hmm.
released, and it causes harm to your, intimate areas, and it can increase the risk of cancer. So yeah, if that
Hmm.
doctor is asking, that's what I'm telling. All people are not aware how to use it,
Hmm.
if how to use it safely. And if you're not using Whisper, and if you're thinking that it is going to be bad for you, then go ahead, because Whisper will come with their own
Change
studies.
of brands.
Yeah. Or no, not even change
Yeah.
of brand. Change the product. You can have Tampoon. You can try
Product.
that.
Yeah.
You can change to a menstrual cup. And if you find comfortable
Hmm.
using it, you can go ahead with that. So it's totally
Hmm.
subjective. It has nothing to do with that.
Hmm. Hmm. And plus, somebody asked, I remember in the Q&A part, they asked that is like, what are the, is copper tea harmful?
Yeah, she's asking another question, that is it safe to use menstrual cup? Yeah, it is safe to use menstrual cup on the intimate area. Absolutely safe, because it is made up of what do you call, not, it's made up of
Silicon.
silicon, but I think it's what do you call, non-allergic, non-latex. So since it's non-latex, it would
Yeah,
not cause you harm.
yeah, it's written on the descriptions also
Yeah,
that it's there are a lot of
latex free.
advantages of yeah. Yeah, I asked you about that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, are copper tea harmful? Like, is copper tea harmful?
Like in what sense was that question? Like harmful in what sense?
I don't know. This was the question: is copper tea harmful, like for the body?
No, no, copper tea is absolutely non-hormonal. It is just having copper. Copper is something which you can think of as a foreign body. Like it is something which is there in your uterus, and your uterus, it will act as a foreign body, and it will prevent the baby, or the, the what do you call, the
The
small
sperms,
embryo,
basically.
sperms, or even the embryos from implanting. It will have those
Yeah, yeah,
things.
yeah.
So it is a
Exactly.
foreign body. So
It
it
would.
is it is it is a
Yes.
mechanical action, mechanical. Okay,
Hmm.
nothing
Hmm.
like a action on
Yeah.
your
Yes.
hormones. Okay, so it's absolutely safe to
Hmm.
use copper tea if inserted in a very sterile manner, and
Hmm.
inserted by a specialist. But otherwise,
Specialist. Yes.
yeah, and 5 years or 10 years, whichever you choose, it's safe.